Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. Hope you're all doing awesome. What is going on this morning? As we get settled in to hang out for a while. Sam's here already. Right on. Sam says hello. Sam says DCF 512 is an awesome piece of kit. A power socket wrench. Interesting. I've not tried that. Sounds cool. Sounds cool. Right on. Right on. What the heck's going on? What are you guys working on today? I'm working on finishing this coffee. And Harry Dude's here. Harry Dude says, "What's up? I made it on time this week." Right on, man. How are you doing? Back to your old self. Hopefully you're feeling much better and back at it. Right on. How's everything down in the land of Australia? Right on. And Robert's here. Robert says, "Hey, I made it today." Right on. Welcome. Sam says, "We British drink more tea." Yeah, I wish I liked tea a little bit more than I do. I try it every once in a while, and I can't get into it. Nothing against it or anything. I really wish I'd liked it more. I don't know. It's not my thing. I'll stick with my coffee, I guess. Heritage says, "Got back on the tools, started clearing the backlog." Right on. Right on, man. Glad to hear that. Sam says, "Add sugar and milk to tea." You can add milk to tea? Interesting. I've never tried that. What kind of tea is that best in? That piques my curiosity. Because that's what I do with my coffee. So, I need more information. What kind of tea is best with sugar and milk, or all kinds of tea? I'd be down to try that. Interesting. You may have solved my tea issues. Harry Dude says, "Give me tea over coffee any day. Milk is very common in tea, but I prefer mine black." Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Milk in tea. Sam says, "YouTube, how to make a British cup of tea." I'll have to look that up. But leave your recommendations for, like, I don't know, flavors or something, or brands or types or something. I'm not super familiar with tea. All I know is we have like a bunch of different herbal ones. Heritage says, "Cup of tea, governor." Yeah, I might have to try that. Totally not against it whatsoever. So what the heck are you guys working on? Man, it's been kind of an interesting week since we hung out last week. And it seems like a lot of things have it's been challenging. A lot of things keep breaking. I had an electrical issue where I had no power here in the shop for a day. Had to get that fixed. Then I've been trying to work on this tractor, which is the video that's going to be coming out this weekend. And my power washer broke. And then I'd mentioned before, I thought I had to replace the power steering pump on my vehicle. Turns out it was the belt tensioner. It completely froze up and like almost burned the belt up. So I had to get that fixed. Thankfully that happened. I was only about a quarter mile from the house, so I was able to get back here with no problems. But when I ordered the part, they ordered in the wrong one from the parts place, so I had to wait another day to get that in. It's been weird. You guys ever have those weeks where it seems like it's one thing after another and all you want to do is come out in the shop and work on stuff? Hasn't really been that week for me. It's just been a lot of stuff breaking. But that's okay. It gives me more stuff to fix, I guess. Sam says, anyone else getting 144p. Harry Dude says he's got 720. Sam says a few times loaded up in 144. Interesting. I have encountered that a few times. I'll start watching a video or something, and it turns out that it's in 144 or really really bad quality. A few times it's because maybe my internet is really slow for whatever reason, but there's also been some times where I've been able to go into the settings and just select 720 or whatever. I usually don't use full 1080, or just switch it to auto and it automatically improves. I don't know why it sometimes comes out low, but it does, and it's sort of weird. It could be on my end as well, but Harry Dude says he's got 720, so who knows? I don't know. And I'm still on the iPad. I have just with everything I've been trying to keep fixed up here, I haven't really had a chance to sit down and get all the newer live things tested out, the other cameras and things. But I'll be getting to that. Right on. So, what are we working on around here? Like I said, I just finished up rebuilding the carburetor on this tractor. Just finished editing the video this morning, and it is all rendered. And I'm in the middle of previewing that video, and we'll get that sucker uploaded right after this live, and get that thing scheduled for this weekend. It's going to come out. Also, I have been playing around with doing Q&A shorts every day. I'm gonna try to do some sort of short every day this month and see how that goes. Usually I've been trying to do a couple a week, but I just decided that why not try to do one every month or every day this month. So that's my challenge for myself this month. So if there's a question you'd like to have answered, if you've seen the shorts, it's just a short Q&A. Ask the question, I'll answer it to the best of my abilities, and yeah, so look for those throughout every day this month. Alrighty, Sam says, dual 4-slot chargers are a godsend. Yes, the being able to charge lots of batteries at once, I think is pretty handy. Except the only problem is I don't have that many batteries. I need to get a few more batteries, and I don't have any of the DeWalt ones, but I know a lot of people do, and they seem to work really well. Robert says, hey Harry Dude, was watching a video yesterday about a new Dodge pickup that's coming out in Brazil. Pretty sure that the Rampage came out in Australia a few years back. Am I correct? Interesting. That I'm not sure. Do you remember, you say the Rampage, that's a re-release, I'm guessing. Do you remember the Dodge Rampage that came out, that was like out in the 80s? It was like kind of a El Camino type car with a little truck bed thing, like a Subaru Brat, those little Brats they used to make, and they used to make those. My grandpa used to have one, and I remember riding around with him and like going to get hay and stuff in the back of this little thing. So I'll have to look that up if I'd like to see what that looks like. Sam says, did you make your computer table? I did. Actually, I've got several different computer tables. I built the one in here in the shop just a few weeks ago, the little swing arm thing for the laptop, and then my main computer table in where I do all my editing in the house. That is made from a workbench top, like 1.5 inch, 2 inch thick hardwood workbench top, almost like the same thing as this here. Actually, I think it was a piece of that. And then it's got a couple little cabinet deals on the side, and yeah. But yeah, when possible, I try to build things myself. Robert says my stream's coming in at 720, and he says it's a small size pickup. Yeah, sounds exactly like the one they had in the 80s. Hair Dude says no idea. My car is from 2003. I don't follow the car market here much anymore, especially now that the Aussies don't make any cars here anymore. Yeah, I always thought it was kind of strange or interesting, I guess, that the companies like GM and Ford and all that, Dodge, I guess, apparently as well, they make these different models that they sell in other countries, and then we don't even get to see them here. I always thought that was kind of weird. I don't know why they would make different models and then we don't, just for export or something. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't follow it a whole lot. The market here as well, the new stuff coming out. Um, that is not for me anyway. That's not my market. Like the new vehicles now are so expensive. It's crazy, and there's absolutely no way that I will probably ever buy a new vehicle. I always stick with a used of some sort. Paul's here. Paul says hello. Gonna try this again. Hopefully work stays at a minimum. Paul, good morning. Glad you're able to sneak away for a few and hang out. And I hope your work stays at a minimum too. At least while the live is going. Bobby says, "Yep, you nailed it." For the Rampage. Hair Dude says, "If you want a small size pickup, look at the Suzuki Mighty Boy." I've not heard of that either. Interesting. See all these other models that we don't get. Robert says, "Hair Dude." Okay, no problem. Right on. And Brian's here. Brian says, "Hello, Jeff and everyone. Today was the last day for students. The office will be quiet and I can get some work done for the next 2 months." Right on, Brian. And good afternoon. Yeah, our schools were done here 2 weeks ago. So this is the second week of no school of summer break. So far, so good. Just trying to get some work done and also work in some summer fun activities. Yeah, hard to believe that schools are out. This is the last week for schools in a lot of areas, like where I came from on the East Coast. I know their schools are finishing up this week, and yeah, pretty much everybody's going to be done here very soon, if not already. Paul says, "Got my granddad's 1970 Ford Courier. Have it licensed as a farm truck. Very tiny, but works to haul wood." Yes, I know exactly what the Couriers are. Familiar with those. I've not owned one myself, but yeah, I know exactly what they are, and I remember a few of them where people have swapped in a small block Chevy in those things. Makes a really pretty sporty little tiny truck. Sam says, "I like the DeWalt battery fans so much I got two." Right on. Yeah, you got to stay cool. The little battery powered fans. I've thought about those before. My problem is a lot of times when I'm in here working, I've got the camera running, so I try to not have a lot of excess noise. In the wintertime, that's a little hard because I usually got some sort of heat running to stay warm. But yeah, the extra noise, I try to cut that down as much as I can. And Sam Packins here. He says, "Good morning, everyone." Good morning, Rick. How are you? Sam says, "Autocorrect got my typing again." No worries. No worries. It's all good. Harry Dude says, "The Rampage from the 80s is what we would call a ute or a utility vehicle." I was going to say that when I was talking about that, but I'm not 100% confident in my vocabulary, but I was very certain that I was going to call it a ute. The term pickup is only now starting to infect our local lingo, but the term ute is still hanging on. I like the term ute. Sam says, "Not been mentioned before, but you're an absolute legend." Well, thank you, Sam. I appreciate that, and yeah, definitely. I don't consider myself a legend, but I appreciate that. Robert says, my current Dodge Dakota extended cab. Uh, I was really thinking Dodge missed the mark in 2019 when they did not build at that time a concept of the new Dakota had a sliding side doors, not swinging doors. What? That sounds weird to me. Paul says, get yourself a mini split. Keeps the noise at a minimum. That would be very cool. Very cool. Dastardly Dave says, sup? What's up, Dave? How are you doing this fine morning? And Raymond is here. Raymond says, good morning. Dropping into the show to show support and maybe learn something. Right on, Raymond. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. If you've not been on here, just an hour or so of us hanging out, talking about projects, just really enjoying a coffee or whatever together and talking about projects and what you're working on and all that sort of good stuff. Really, it's just in general a good little hangout session. But don't be afraid if you got questions, you're looking for suggestions or something like that, drop them over here. And I can point it over here like that's where yours is. I don't know where your comments show, but mine are right here. Yeah, just pretty much no topic off limits. And yeah, we can jump around from all kinds of stuff. We've we've been all over the map before, and that's what's fun about doing the lives. Paul says, hauled 10 fence pickets on my Harley yesterday. Strapped them across the bags, worked fine. Were you hauling them this way across? Like, so you're riding and... Hey, it works. Sam says, Phillips Hue LED tape, lighting tape would look great in your workshop. I've thought about that before. I think that'd be kind of interesting, put some LEDs and stuff around. Just haven't ever jumped in to try it. But I have thought about that. You can change the colors and we can have the ambiance. How's that for a big word? Dastardly Dave says, working on my TTG class. Oh, Trans Am. Got to finish it to move on to the next one. Right on. What year is it? The old Firebirds. I like the late 70s, very early 80s before they went to that, what is it, third gen? I think that would be second gen. I like the second gen ones a lot. Third gen would probably be another one that I like. Once they went to the fourth gen, yeah, they're all right. Oh, the Firebird. Now I'm thinking of the Firebird. Yeah, I like all of them, like the fourth gen. And Paul's here. Yes, all this sideways. Rick says, hey, Jeff, what's up? What's up, Rick? How are you doing today? Sam, if you find a glue you prefer, stick with it. Yeah, I see what you did there. Rick says, drink more coffee, you won't have to fix things. I don't know. I've had to fix a lot of things in since last week. And I've drank a lot of coffee. I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the live, it seems like this past week was the week of everything wanting to break, from electrical issues in the shop, and I had to replace a belt tensioner on my vehicle, and my pressure washer went down. I'm waiting for parts on that, and it's just everything seems to be breaking. So hopefully this week gets it all out of the way, and I don't have to worry about anymore for a while. Harry Dude says a second gen Smokey and the Bandit, third gen Knight Rider. Yes, absolutely. So the first gen was the 68, 69 Camaro versions, and then they went to the second gen, which is Smokey and the Bandit. Knight Rider's third, and yeah, absolutely. Paul says I had a 93 Firebird Formula with the Ram Air package, black with T-tops. Personalized plates said SR71, like the Blackbird. Passed everything but a gas station. Yeah. 93. That's, I believe, the third gen, right, for 93? Or had they gone? I don't think they went to I think that was the third gen, the 93s. Yep. I've never owned a Camaro myself. I wouldn't mind having one, just kind of for fun. kind of a project kind of deal. Um, but I did have a 1987 Monte Carlo Super Sport with the T-tops. I love the T-tops. Yeah, it was so awesome to be able to. To me, it's different. It's much different than a convertible. Where you just pull part of the roof off with the T-tops and cruise around. Except I always did it at night. I never cruised around during the day with the T-tops out because it was always too hot. But yeah, it was super awesome on those hot summer nights. You just pull the T-tops off. I'd love to find another one of those. Dastardly Dave. Sorry, Dave. I totally misunderstood what you were saying there. He says Texas Toast Guitars class I took a couple months ago. Three of us made a neck through Firebird. I immediately went to the car. My bad. That's all right. We had a little conversation about cars there. Thought you were working on a car. Oh boy, that's funny. Sorry about that. My mistake. I like those too, but I also like the cars. Oh boy. Oh, that's embarrassing. Sam says, "What was your inspiration for getting into carpentry?" Um, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't consider myself a carpenter. To me, that has to do more with like building homes and framing and that sort of thing. And while I have done some of that, I just don't feel that. I don't call myself a carpenter, but a woodworker, yes. And really, it's just part of how I've grown up. I grew up working with my grandpa in his little basement workshop, learning how to do different things. And then from there, I went to working on a dairy farm where, there's a lot of, you're doing your own repairs and fixing things. And I've just always been one to get in and just do stuff with my hands. And that's what I love to do, just fixing things and making things. If there's something that I want to have, I'd rather try to make it if I can. And it's just always been part of how I roll, and it's kind of how I was raised and grown up. And my dad is the same way, and he runs his own business and everything, and always doing the things himself. And just I've always been hands on, and just being able to make things out of wood or metal or whatever it is just always been it's always been a part of me, I guess. So, so Dave, thanks for clearing that up, and now I feel a little goofy, but because I totally went the other way from what you were talking about. Oh boy, let's move on from that. Harry Dude says, "Love the Knight Rider version. Won't get one now. Never released here. I would have to import and convert. Oh, it's probably expensive to import a vehicle." Be blessed. Desert Art says, "I once owned a 1970 Chevelle SS. Regret letting that go." Yeah, I would too. I've had a couple cars that I wish I still had, but yeah, yeah. Anyway, Be blessed says, "Got to get back to work." Right on, Well, thanks for stopping by for a minute, and hope you're having an awesome day. Have a good one. Robert says, Paul, yeah, that was the problem with early performance vehicles, poor fuel mileage. Yes, but gas was cheap, so we didn't care, right? Paul says, a buddy of mine has an 83 IROC Z28 with 3,700 actual miles on it. Keeps it in his garage and barely drives it. I guess 3,700 miles? Man, I wouldn't mind having that car. Be blessed, says ciao. Ciao to you, my friend. Dastardly Dave says, it's cool. My neighbor has a 1980 Indy Pace car TA. It's unfortunately rotting in his driveway outside. Oh man, you need someone to rescue it. Be blessed says, I'm a retired master plumber. My dad was amazing woodworking. Right on. Em says a necessity rather than a hobby. Yeah, sort of. Just grew up having to fix things by necessity. Yeah, you're right. And it just for a little while it became a hobby. Just something I enjoyed doing for a little bit, and then I realized that I really miss working on stuff and doing things with my hands as much as I do enjoy it, and just started incorporating more of that and sharing it on YouTube. Yeah, there was quite a while where my focus was not on necessarily making things. It was when I was in the full on live music band, playing out mode. I didn't do a whole lot of that stuff. A little bit of work on my guitars just to keep them up and working, but I didn't make a whole lot of things for quite a few years when I was doing that, because most of my time was wrapped up in either going to work during the day and playing shows or practicing in the evenings, and that was really it for quite a number of years. Be Blessed says, I have a similar background like you. I also worked on a dairy farm in Connecticut and helped my dad in his wood shop. I'm a retired plumbing contractor, had a plumbing contractor for 27 years. Right on. Yep, and that's another thing that I do miss. I do miss the farming. Again, like a lot of stuff, right? You grow up one way and maybe you get tired of it, so you can't wait to get out of there. You spend some time away, and then you realize how how much you really did enjoy what you didn't think you enjoyed. But yeah, I would love to get back into plowing fields and mowing hay and baling hay, and the stacking hay and the top of the hay mow wasn't my favorite, but yeah, I'd love to get back to some of that. Be Blessed says later. Have a good one. Sam says my laptop is broken. He's not dancing on my laptop. I hope you can get it fixed. Depends on what's broken. I bet you can fix it yourself. Paul says in high school, friend's dad owned an auto body place. A friend and I restored and sold a 53, 54, and 55 Fords. They were everywhere in the fields back then. Learned body and mechanic work. Yeah, that I had this conversation, or a similar conversation. Was it with my dad or my brother? Might have been my dad. I don't know. Our first cars were cost hardly anything, and you could find an old car around all the time, and now they're just getting so hard to find, and when you do find one that it might be worth restoring, the prices on them are astronomical, and almost, yeah, it's I feel like we're getting priced out of a lot of this stuff now, and it's so much harder to come across something like that. I'd love to get an old truck or an old car, some sort of a project like that we could sort of restore here on the channel, and in video series over time kind of thing. I just think that would be awesome, but it's so hard to find stuff that is sort of decent to get started with, but also for a decent price. It's really getting tricky to do. So if anybody has something, and you think of this guy, I think it'd be an awesome project. I don't have a big auto body shop or really any sort of garage where I can work on it in. It'd be mostly done outside kind of deal. But I just think something like that would just be a super cool project, and maybe something like just getting it mechanically sound, and maybe we road trip it back to Pennsylvania, and I have my brother, who's an auto body guy, paint it up. Something like that would be kind of like a really cool long-term project. That would be something I would really enjoy doing. I do a lot of woodworking type stuff here on the channel, but for those of you that have been around for quite a while, which I think most of you have, I've done other stuff. I throw in some mechanical things here and there, and I have no problem jumping in and wrenching on an old car, and it's one thing that I really love to do. So maybe one day we'll find something and make that a series on the channel. I don't know if you guys can hear that plane, but it sounds like it's like right there. Sam says, I appreciate the hard work some farmers do milking cattle, but sadly the government are heavily milking the farmers almost dry. Yep, that's been a challenge for quite a long time. Even here, the milk price has always not been great. But yeah, I'm super thankful that we still do have, although not as many small farms, small dairy farms around. I wish there was more. But yeah, the farm that I worked on, we milked, I think, around 120 head. So nowhere near huge, but still pretty good size, and it was fun. Robert says the downside of using laptops is they're not as easy to repair them yourself. Also, really easy to totally trash them when trying to fix them. How's a computer tech? Yes. The laptop that I have now was given to me by a friend, but it needed some work. The screen was jacked up, so I did not actually replace the screen myself. I had a local repair guy replace that for me. But then I did replace the hard drive and the memory, and now it works. It works really well for a 7-year-old laptop or something like that. Heritage says, try buying parts, supplies, etc. All gone up in price. Going through it now with my project car. I know, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like everything, parts. I just had to replace the belt tensioner and the serpentine belt on my vehicle, and just for the belt tensioner, and the belt was like $120 or something like that. Which, I mean, it's not horrible, but when you think about what it is, yeah, it's crazy. Thankfully it's an easy fix, and it's not something I had to take to a shop. But you leave the store with 2 little parts, and it's $120. It's just crazy. Rick says, we're getting priced out on just about everything these days. I'm finding people want a lot for anything they're selling. Yes, yeah, it is. You go to a store to buy something and the prices are crazy. But yet, the other thing that I find interesting, and I don't probably shouldn't even go there, but those of us that make things, right? And if you want to sell them, to get the price that you need to get, people don't seem to want to pay that. I don't know if you guys have encountered that as well. You spend a lot of time making some sort of handmade thing, and people want it for $1. Do you guys finding that as well? It makes it really hard. Sam says laptops are more easier to lump around without the separate tower and monitor. Oh, absolutely, and that's the beauty of them. The downside is, like Robert said, they're a little harder to work on, but not impossible. Robert says, yeah, finding something car-wise that still has a little rust that can be fixed up can be an issue. Yes, I think if you can find it, I've found that here in my area, things don't rust out as quickly, so that's an advantage. If you're East Coast, kind of where there's more humidity and that sort of thing, things rust out a lot faster. Out here, that's not quite the case. So if you can find the right find a good vehicle, that's what I'm trying to say. Out here anyway, it's not super rusty, which is a plus. The hard part is finding one for a good price. KK's here. KK says, good evening from Greece, my friend Jeff and brothers in the USA. I pray that you and your families are well and strong. The weather is good, and maybe we will go to the islands. I wish you the best. Right on. The islands. That sounds fun. Yeah, we're good here, man. I hope everything is well in Greece. I hope you guys are all doing great. Maybe someday here we'll get to summer like weather. We haven't got there yet. I'm wearing a long sleeve t-shirt. And I had a beanie on earlier this morning. Paul says, just bought 4 tickets for Spider-Man movie for tonight. $65 for just the tickets. Ridiculous. I 100% agree. Yeah, when you go to the movie, or go to the movies, yeah, it's expensive. And then you got to get the popcorn and stuff, and there's another, I don't know, $15 or something like that. Yeah, everything's like that. Look at I sound like a get off my lawn. Anyway, unfortunately, that's just the way things are going. Robert says, a really long time ago, my grandfather had a few milk cows, maybe only about 20 or 30 head, but he sold the cream to a local ice cream company. Oh, that would be great. I think ours went to, I think it was a cheese place. I think they made other stuff, but I can't remember the name now. Was it Orida? Man, that was a long time ago. I don't quite remember. Paul says, yes, people keep trying to talk down on my guitars. Hand-built is not appreciated. Yes. That's kind of where I was going with that. Always. Not always. Rick says, LOL, if the quality is there, I'll pay. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Dastardly Dave says, I remember when I could go to the movies for a nickel. I don't think I ever got nickel movies, but you could get out of the movies, with movies and snacks for under $20. I remember that. Maybe 15. Sam says, in hotter climates, is external wood preserves more resilient than cooler climate countries? Hotter climate. Is external. Do you mean? I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand your question. Are you thinking in hotter climates does wood keep better outside than in cooler climates? Let me know if I'm understanding that correctly. Oh, he said, oh, varnish. So you're talking about an outdoor finish? I'm thinking, right? Am I with you, Sam? I'm just trying to make sure we're on the same page here, buddy. I will get to that. You let me know if I'm right or wrong. Robert says, yeah, I used to do artwork and like to do portraits. The portraits not to make money, so I only sold them for like $40 for maybe 40 hours, and some people still thought I was charging too much. Yeah, that's exactly what that's what I mean. And I think what that comes down to it, Sam, and then I'll get to you. I could be way off on this, and I don't spend a ton of time, trying to understand the market or anything. I feel like with everything priced the way it is now, like the cost of everything, literally everything, people think that because they can buy something that somebody made, that they should be able to get it cheaper because it's not a factory made, it's just somebody making something in their garage or whatever. And I think somehow the value in that has gotten lost in translation. I'm not quite sure how to explain what's in my head on that. But does that make any sense? With everything so expensive that people are looking to those that can make things, which is great, because it has the potential to bring more business to myself and you guys and everyone that built, that aspires to build and sell things. But I think they're looking there for the wrong reason, instead of looking there for the quality. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm on track with that or not, but that's my take on it. Everything's so expensive now. People think they can save money by having a craftsman make it rather than buying it from the store, and it should be cheaper, and that's just totally not the case. Sam says paint or varnish. Okay, so you're thinking, so you're asking, in hotter climates, is paint or varnish more resilient than cooler climates? I don't feel, this is just my opinion. I could be I could be a little off on this, so I want you guys to chime in. I think that if you're looking for an outdoor finish for wood and you ultimately want it to last the longest, I don't think that it's hotter or colder climate necessarily. I think it's more the sunlight. I have not found a finish that is not paint that will hold up, especially where we are. I live at about 7,000 feet elevation here at the shop. And if you're unfamiliar, like the higher you get, the more intense the UV gets. So I don't feel that we live in either a hot or a cold climate. But it's the sun's rays that just tears up any sort of finish. I've tried several different ones, and all of the finishes that I've tried have deteriorated over time. You almost have you basically have to touch them up like every year, maybe every two, depending on exposure. But yeah, I've not found anything. I do feel that if you ultimately want it to last the longest, then paint is the way to go, because it is a barrier to the UV rays. Now, you're still going to have to repaint it, and I can't stand painting wood, my personal opinion, but any sort of clear, it's just going to get destroyed by the sun, especially here where I live, because the UV is so intense. Like, I can be outside and get sunburned like in an instant. I can look outside at the sun almost and get a sunburn. It is super intense. But I have not found any outdoor finish that will last very long. Even I've used the spar urethanes. I've used other different brands, and it's just crazy. I've not done like an epoxy kind of thing. But just your normal finishes that you can buy at the big box store that normal most people have access to. But yeah, it's super hard to do. Robert says, when I was around 6, I could go to a movie and have candy and a drink for $1.50. See, that would be great. We used to have like one of those I don't know what it was called exactly, like the dollar theater kind of thing, where they would show older releases and that sort of stuff. Those you could go there and, like, I think it was $1, and then you bought your popcorn and stuff, and you could get out of there pretty cheap at those. But it was not the latest releases. Harry Dude says, people only understand the value of labor when they have to do it themselves. I 100% agree. Yes. Sam Packin says, I'm using headphones and I'm getting told low battery, so I have to go. Have a good day, everyone. I said, my laptop speakers don't work. Old laptop, Windows 7. Right on, Rick. Well, sorry you had to leave us so soon, but we'll catch you next time, man. Have a good one. I hope everything is going well up there. Robert says, yeah, the cost of nearly all vehicles has gone crazy, and they keep putting all the bells and whistles that most people really don't need just to keep the prices up. Yes. Yes. They keep advertising, I don't know if you guys have seen it, those vehicles with the auto steer, where they're driving down the road and they put it on the auto steer and just sit back. That sounds terrible. that sounds like an accident waiting to happen to me, literally. Sam says, do adults in America still have to do the Pledge of Allegiance? I would say adults in most places probably don't, like workplaces and that sort of thing. Thankfully, At my daughter's school, I can't speak for any other schools. My daughter's school still says the Pledge of Allegiance every day, which I think is awesome. Um, but yeah, I don't. I think in general, adults are not typically at in a place where they would have to say that. I mean, it'd be nice if everybody did, but yeah, I know that at my daughter's school they do, and I think that's cool. Paul says General Finishes outdoor oil works great, but $40 a quart at Rockler is so pricey. Now I've not used that, Paul. Is that a film finish or is that an oil finish like a tung oil or something like that? Or is it a build? Does it build up like a poly or a urethane? Robert says, yeah, the UV from the sun is what does most of the damage to most everything. Yes, yeah. Including we're talking about cars earlier, and including the cars. Sam says, in America, do they have Hammerite paint? That's great paint. I've not even heard of Hammerite paint, so I dare say that no, I don't think we do. Maybe somewhere, but I've never heard of it, and I'm not familiar with it. Robert says, if you could find something finish wise that had a UV blocker, it might last longer. Yes, I know that there are some that are supposed to have UV protectants, and I've tried several different. I think the Spar urethanes claim to have UV protectant or stuff like that, but I have not seen not even extended length using the Spar urethane. One that I've not tried is the who makes that? I think it's a Total Boat finish. One of the brands or one of the different ones that I think it's Total Boat. They make I think it's a marine varnish of some sort. I've kind of wanted to try that. I haven't yet. If any of you have tried, I would love to know how it worked out. Dastardly Dave says the Second Run Theater. I helped restore a theater in Akron. Ran those movies to pay the bills and put on live music shows for fun. Oh, that sounds like a cool place. Do second run movies and then a live music venue. That sounds super awesome. I would totally go to a place like that. Heritage says, welcome to Johnny Cab. Brian says to Sam, we still do the pledge every morning. It's part of the morning announcements in the school. We're also on a military installation. Yeah, my daughter's school does the same. When I was in school, and probably many of you, you go to school in the morning and you have the morning announcements and you stand up and you do the pledge. My daughter's school still does that. Like I said, I don't know other schools. I only have information on that one school, but yes, that's awesome, Brian. You guys do that. Robert says, also the auto steer in vehicles would be just dead boring. Yeah, I why would you just want to sit there? It'd be like, you might as well take a Greyhound bus. Is that even still a thing? Is Greyhound even around anymore? I just thought about that. I've not seen a Greyhound bus in years. Paul says Amazon and Walmart sells Hammerite paints. Really? Maybe I just don't browse the paint aisle at Walmart too much. Yeah, Sam. I'm just reading your comment there. I'm not going to go into that. I don't want to go down that road. But I'm with you. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. Sam says I'm in the UK. We don't have that here. You don't have the paint, or what? The pledge, the paint. You lost me, buddy. Oh, I just looked over at this. This is another thing that. Oh, you don't have the pledge. Do you have a I don't know what it would be called. Do you have the UK any sort of a pledge or I don't know what it would be called. um, that would, I don't know how to word that. Paul says, I still stand for the pledge and the anthem, former Marine Navy, but respect a person's right not to do so. However, it does raise my dandruff when I see disrespect of them or veterans. Freedom isn't free. I agree, Paul. I will stand as well, even if it comes on the television. uh, most of the time we're going to stand. Yes, I have not even been. I am not former military or anything. I do live in a very military town. We have, I don't know, like 6 different bases around here, from different branches, and yeah, I'm with you. Sam says the pledge. They don't have the pledge. Robert says, yeah, I think one of the main problems with finishes on exterior is if it's not dry enough, the moisture inside the wood causes finish to loosen. I think that's part of it too. Brian says the UK has God Save the King. Sam says, not that I remember. It's been over 30 years. Harry Dude says the closest thing we did here in Australia was sing the national anthem at school. Can't remember if it was daily or weekly. I don't think we ever sang the national anthem, but we did say the pledge every single morning at school. Okay. So I was talking earlier, just to change the subject here for a second, about things breaking. This broke off. It's barely hanging on there now. My tripod broke. So I had to, this is just a piece of steel rod that I jammed the handle from the old tripod on. Put it on here with a little grub screw. I had to fix that. One of these days I need to buy a new tripod, but that was another thing that broke. Whoa. Almost threw it on the floor and broke it again. Yeah. That's good stuff. Alrighty. Oops, sorry. I put my hand in front of the camera. Hope I didn't poke anybody in the eye. All right. So, what are we going to be working on? What do I got to get done around here? Well, I got to get that video uploaded for this weekend, and then I'm thinking it's time to start on the acoustic. I've said that for a long time, but I got to get started on that. I think that's going to come up. I might probably just get the plates joined, flattened, and all that. And I feel like I keep saying that, and it's other things just keep coming up. So I think I just got to start it, and then it'll be started, and then I feel I'm going to have to keep going on it. So I think that's what I might do. Just jump in, just tackle it, and get going. Yeah, it's just been one thing after another this last week, especially, and it's kind of been driving me crazy. I even mentioned to Mrs. Homebuilt that I'm kind of tired of everything just breaking. I just want something to work. Robert says, I think it was shameful that just last week a grade school class was blocked from singing the anthem in Congress because they told, what? Yeah, it's the national anthem. Sam says, did your tripod have made in USA? If not, that's the issue. I have no idea where this thing's made, to be honest with you. Probably doesn't even say. I don't see it anywhere. It's probably not. It's not a super expensive tripod. I don't see it anywhere. I don't see made in anywhere on this. I don't have the slightest clue, Sam. Paul says, just sold 2 more custom builds yesterday, 3 this month. Might get to be a full-time luthier someday. Right on, man. That's awesome. Congrats on the sales. That's awesome. That is awesome. Right on. You got this, man. You can do it. Here, dude says tripod is probably genuine Chinesium. That's my guess. It is not a super expensive one. I'm surprised that this thing's been around probably like 12 years, pretty much. When I have, well, actually, when did I order that? I bought my first DSLR right after my daughter was born. So yeah, it's 11 years old probably. I'm surprised it's lasted that long, but I have had to fix it a couple times or at least patch it up. Robert says to Paul, way to go, nice. Yes, that's awesome. That is awesome. I still got a couple of my builds that I got to do a little more advertising on them, see if I can get those moved down the road. Sam says, have you thought of making a wood steamer for wood bending? I've thought about that a time or two. And for me, I need to come up with the project first. When that project pops up that I go, that I say, hey, this would really be handy, that's when I'll build the steamer box. I don't want to build it just to have it sit around. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. Build a steam box, and you got to have some sort of a steam source, and do some bending. I think that would be super awesome. I just when that project pops up, then I'll consider making a steamer. Absolutely. Tony says, getting ready for a craft show next weekend. I just can't get motivated. Oh, come on. We got to motivate Tony. You got this, man. You can do it. Craft show is going to be awesome. I've been thinking about doing a few around here. Just taking some of the guitars out there and, probably not, maybe a couple little things here and there, but I tried to, there's a fairly big one that I think just happened a couple weeks ago. But I wanted to get into this. It's not one that you can, you actually have to, there's certain requirements in order to be able to get into it. And from my understanding, that's, I forget what they call it. Yeah, anyway, I reached out to the lady, and, gave her the links to the website and everything with the guitars, and told her I, was interested and I wanted to come over and join the show. I'd pay the fee or whatever it is. And she wrote me back and told me that I don't live in the right place. Isn't that silly? I thought so. I guess they're really trying to keep it local, even though I live 15 minutes away, or 10, maybe even 10. But my address is not within the bounds of being accepted into the show. So I thought that was kind of weird. But I have considered doing a few craft shows just to take the guitars out and, really just to help spread the word. I doubt I would sell a guitar at a craft show, but who knows? But I might try to do some of those this year if I can find some that will let me come do it. I thought that was kind of strange that she's like, oh, the guitars look great and all, but you don't live in the right address. Lame. That was lame, I thought. Is that a common thing? Those of you that may have more insight on the craft shows than I do, I just thought that was weird. I don't live very far away from where this thing's held, but I had to send her my address and stuff, and is that common? Are all craft shows like that? Paul says, I built a steam box using wallpaper steamer, a few dowels, some plywood, gets up to 220 degrees, works great. Yes, I've seen those wallpaper steamers used as a steam source, and I would probably do something similar if I was going to build a steam box. Paul says, in Texas, doesn't matter where you live. See, that's what I thought. And, I get it. I know there's craft shows where, is it juried? A juried craft show? For some reason, that term's coming to mind. Where it's a little more controlled as to who enters, so it doesn't become more of a flea market kind of thing. And that's what I thought this was, but I just thought it was very strange that you had to live within a certain, apparently very small circle to be part of this. Corey says, not all craft shows do not ask for your physical address in the first place. Yeah, see, I thought it was really strange. I thought it was weird. I've never heard of that. I've heard of the juried ones where you can't just get in at whatever. You have to meet certain criteria, but I didn't think location was really a big deal. I just thought that was very strange. Brian says you could sell the cigar box guitars at craft shows. It might be more in line with the price and heart of the craft show scene. Yeah, I had that thought as well. And, I do have one, maybe two that I could take over there. And I just thought it would be kind of fun. It's something different that you don't normally see at a craft show. And unfortunately, at least for this one anyway, they wouldn't have me. Corey says, here in Oregon, it doesn't matter where you live. You're still accepted in the craft shows. Yeah, see? So apparently this is very strange. Very strange. I didn't even go to it. I've been to it in the past, and I didn't even go to it this year. I was just like, yeah, heck with that place. But I might try for some others. I know there's a few others around. I just think it'd be cool. I mean, I'll pay the fee or whatever to enter it, and just go set up the table and have a couple guitars there. Heritage says, sounds like the organizer is looking after their luthier friend who's already at the show. Yeah, it's possible. I can't remember from years past if there was guitars there. I don't remember seeing some, but I have no idea. But yeah, you might be right. Paul says to Corey, the wife and I are looking at buying land in Oregon off Highway 101. She wants to live on the ocean. That'd be kind of cool. Robert says you could pre-steam the sides before putting them in the jig. I've thought of that as well. It just, I'm not 100% convinced that it's necessary. It might help, especially if you're working with a very, maybe a brittle wood or a wood that's more prone to cracking or splitting. I don't know. There might be some benefit there, but knowing the process, right? You're gonna wrap it up in the aluminum foil sandwich with the ooh, these are loud. With the it makes a cool sound with the spring steel pieces to support the back. To support it, you're making the sandwich. You're gonna mist it with water. You're gonna wrap it up in aluminum foil. It kind of steams it itself in there. I don't know. I'm not saying it wouldn't work because I'm sure it would work. I'm not sure of how much difference it would make. It might. Corey says there's some beautiful houses and land on the Oregon coast. You just have to find the right location. Paul says we're looking for something around Tillamook. Is that the place that makes the cheese? The Tillamook cheese? Love cheese. Right on. Cool. Right on, guys. We are on the up here on the hour, but let's see. Sam says if you order a finest quality oak bed from China, it'll be made from the finest balsa wood. Probably. Paul says yes, and there's always a line outside that place. They have like a shop or something there, I would imagine. Corey says there's some places around the town you're talking about that is a beautiful place to live. Now I'm hungry for some cheese. Right on, guys. Well, I think it is about time to wrap this up. I got to get in there, get this video uploaded, and get it scheduled for you guys to check out this weekend. See me playing with some carburetor parts. Let's see. Sam says, like to thank you for today's awesome stream. Right on, Sam. Thank you very much. And thanks for tuning in. Brian says, have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe, have fun, and take care. Paul says, wife bought a mahogany bed from Haverty's, and it was 90% MDF. Isn't that horrible? They just put enough mahogany on there to say, this is 100% mahogany. They're not talking about the rest. They're talking about the piece they're pointing to. Buzz says, have a great week, guys. Robert says, everyone have a great week. Stay safe and healthy. Harry Dude says, stay well, folks. Chat next week. Sam, don't forget to like. Oh, yes. Thanks, Sam. If you haven't already hit that thumbs up, hit that sucker. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you for taking some time to hang out. Always my pleasure to hang out with everyone. I look forward to these every week just because we get to hang out. It's just like we're sitting around the dinner table or the campfire or something, just hanging out, having a good time. Thanks a lot, guys. Stay safe, stay well, get on your shops, make some cool things with your hands, have some fun, mow the yard, whatever it is you enjoy doing. Hope you get to do it. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.